Alright, so whole house Whro, you want to make sure you have your filters, your caulk gun, your ladder, your spray bar, spray nozzle. This lady happens to be using the water right now. She wants us to wait, but doesn't mean we got to sit around and wait. You can do everything else on the well side. So I'm just going to take a look inside the tank. Now this is where you have your phone on you. Of course, he's using my phone, so this is where I would take a picture of the tank right now. Inside the tank looks black. Let me see. So inside the tank, if you can see, looks black. And if you rub your fingers in here right there, you can actually see. Okay, so a little bit of bleach in here won't hurt. It's probably a good idea. But while we're up here, I want to test the TDS. Hey, hand me my blue test kit in my bag. TDS of the tank, water going into the Whro is 14. Snap a picture. Snap. Boom. Oh, right there. That's fine. Okay. We'll test the pH going into the tank. And I can see it's making some pretty good water. Five drops. Looking for a yellow and not a red. That's what I got. So that's low pH, which is good. Anything high in the tanks, anything more than yellow, is going to create a problem with shit growing. I don't see a chlorine floater in here. I don't see a bubbler. I don't see, so these are things that you can add to here to try to keep this thing clean. Because obviously you can see the tank needs to be cleaned. So maybe even lower the float down a little bit and put a bio basket in there. You know what I mean? But these are things that we gotta do to help keep the system clean. So we got good pH. That's good. Now, when we open up the cabinet, we want to see what we're looking at on the first. We want to see that, we're at 125 psi. We're making 1.5 gallons to 5. All right. So you can see the stuff being built here. That means there's usually some sediment coming from the well. The worse that is, the worse it is coming from the well, or someone hasn't cleaned it recently. So we shut that off. Kind of like snap a picture of that. That's not a bad idea. Okay, we shut that off. Deplete the pressure here. Open up the filter. Yeah. So we take a picture of that with the new filter as well to show the difference. So this is what we would do: snap a picture right there. Snap a picture. Okay. Always, I don't know if this is like a thing, but always remove the plastic. Okay. Always get in the habit, always, even under sink Whro filters, do the plastic like this and then put it in. Look in here for sand or anything. Okay, put it in like that, because if you got bacteria in your hands, now this is really true for under sink Whros, but you get in the habit of doing that anytime you change the filters. Alright, so you put that on here like this, put it in the right spot. Now, if it gives you any problem, then you know there's an issue, all right? So it shouldn't be tough, right there. And look, got a little quarter turn. You don't gotta crank them down with a wrench. You don't need to do any of that stuff, all right? So now that there's air inside here, okay, we don't want to let any air contact the membrane, all right? So the only way of doing that, now remember this was at 125. Now this may have been set wrong or right to begin with, we don't know, all right? And it was making good TDS, so I'll take that. I'm gonna open that up all the way. I'm going to open this up, then I'm going to turn this on slowly. Because what we're looking for, you're going to notice all the air right here. All right? So all the air, we want to get all the air out. So we open this up. The booster pump just turned on. We can go ahead and turn that off. We don't want the booster pump on at all. So make sure before you start bleeding it out, you actually unplug the system first so you don't push air through the membrane. I think she's probably done, right? Okay, so booster pump unplugged. Now I'm watching all the air go through. Because here's the thing, if you have it under pressure, okay, and you power that booster pump up, what's going to happen is all that air is going to go through all that membrane, and it's going to go into pressure, and it's going to ruin that membrane. So you always want to make sure the booster pump's off. You completely wait, all right? While you're waiting, it's draining down the well tank here. Kind of limited because I think she's still in the shower. So I'm going to come over here, check this out. Time is wrong. What time is it?
9:32.
9:32. Now, we're going to start having 2 people here doing maintenances. So one person could be writing down, okay, time was wrong on unit. Battery backup might be bad. May need to replace. These are things that we could be doing that could be an issue. Or they had a power outage. So it's 9:32. That's right. I'm going to hit regen. I'm going to check gallon history real quick. So 1,000 gallons. Anybody knows a 10-inch tank can only do 350 gallons. So we know right now that this is undersized. It's a problem. It's going to create a restriction for my booster pump here. Eventually, this is going to get plugged up, either with sulfur bacteria or plugged up with. It's just going to be gross, and it's going to stop your pump from pumping, and it's going to be a problem. All right, so 645, 1,400 gallons, 580 gallons. To be honest with you, eventually it's going to be better off just to not even have this. And that's another thing. We're writing down, okay, 10 by 54 unit is way undersized for the amount of water being used. All right, using 1,400 gallons a day. Nothing under 400. I'm sorry, nothing under 500. 2,200 gallons a day. That's just ridiculous numbers. All right. So we went through that. You can check total gallons by holding these 2, like the first one, once, but twice. It's been installed 870 days. It's went through 800, it regenerated 800 days. It's used over 644,000 gallons. All right, so we got that. Now we're gonna go through regen. Be careful with the sunlight here because it will affect the board. You'll get errors and messages and shit. So if you got the sunlight there, sometimes it won't work. So we're looking at the water coming through here. Nice clean water. It doesn't have any restrictions in the holes. Okay, it's backwashing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit regen again. It's gonna go to down brine. Okay, it's on down brine. I'm gonna go ahead and check this out. Okay, it's working. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. Now that I turned it off while it's in regen, I don't have to depressurize it. It's really just depressurized by itself right now. Okay, it looks like we are getting a little bit of sand in there or something. You want to take a picture of this? So we are getting sand in there. We want to make note of that. So another thing, right here, sand getting from well into sulfur filter and using way too much water. Gonna pop the injector out. See, it's getting that stuff right there. I'm gonna check the DLFC. Could always go bigger. It's a 3.2. That's a 3.2. That's pretty small. I'm gonna change that out. I want that to be probably at least a 5 or 6. So I want to change that out. All right, she's probably done using the water now, so I also unplugged everything. We want to make sure we drain everything down. So when we're coming over here, depressurize this. Okay, turn that on. We should be testing the pH and the TDS from there as well. I'm doing this to see if there's any pressure increase or decrease. I am getting a little bit. That's just a calcite filter there. This is the sulfur filter. So it makes sense for me to turn this one on right here. All right. This one, the reading of this, I don't want to get any sulfur water inside the house. So if I did it the other way and just did this, and see the pressure, it'd be sending sulfur water in the house and we get smelly water next time as soon as they turn the water on, okay? Nothing big. Need a PP minute here. If you look right here, you're missing the screen. Now that protects the injector. So do the same thing with this one. I'm going to check gallon history. Hold and push the up and down arrows. That's probably locked. So down next, up, set clock. That's locked. So I'm going to go ahead and hit clock again right now. Then I'm going to hit these buttons a little bit harder this time. Okay, next, right here, reserve history, no, usage history, 35, 198, so I'm looking for anything over, 300 gallons, or 700 gallons, so we're going to write this down. 14 days ago, they used over 700 gallons, boom, snap a picture. Nothing else, okay, so that's it. So they had 1 day, 5 gallons. You want to make sure that that's low. You don't want the 10 by tank more than 6 gallons a minute. If you do, you want to throttle this back a little bit. There's a ball valve here. You throttle it back because it throttles down back the amount of gallons per minute. If it's all the way open, they're going to be getting 6 or 7 sometimes, So always throttle it back a little bit. That'll tell you that on the sulfur filter. Same thing. That's the purpose of having these. Because if you open up a tub, this unit can't handle too much water that fast going through a 10-inch tank with that amount of flow. All right, so that's why this is here. Okay, time is right, 9:37. We're gonna go ahead and run this your regen real quick. Need to add PP minute screen. 30-minute regen time on a down brine. I don't even know that we're doing that anymore, were we? Were we doing 30 minutes?
Yeah.
It's working. These are set for softening. That's it. Down brine. That's what we want. Backwash and down brine. Let's go ahead and deplete this pressure. This looks nice and clean. I mean, you get not really anything up there. The injector looks good. All right, we're going to test the pH next. So we're going to go ahead and check the pressure tanks before we fire anything else back up. This is a really bad filter, by the way. This filter shouldn't be that black. So I would look, number one, look to see when the last time it was maintained. Number two, I would see when the last time the filter was changed. But if there being that much, it very well could be that this is making that filter work. This is undersized, it's using way too much water. This could have a saturation of blackness through it. I'd even like to shut this unit off and see if make a note on the work order and see if this one gets near as black. My guess would be no, okay? So wait for that. This one is 23 pounds, that's good. We're gonna shake it. It's not heavy, it's not making any noise, there's no water in it. That means it's a good tank. Gonna check the switch here. Good looking switch. Look at the contacts. We're going to look at the contacts. Contacts look good. Okay, if you look in here, you can see some nasty shit in here. Rat poop and lizard throw up or whatever you got. So, we check the switches, and it would be a good idea to have like a little hose you can put up here and just kind of spray it out. here, contact is starting to look black. What you do, you know, again, these are all inclusive customers. This is maintenance as well. So, you know, what we want to do is we want to get what works pretty well is a flathead. So we want to come in here, look, getting little black marks, but just either have a little file or just scrape the contacts here a little bit. Take the black char off, and that's going to prevent them not have water in the middle of the night, you know? So just scrape them a little bit. Having a file works wonders. I would suggest getting one. And it definitely takes a fraction of the time. This one over here looked good, it had no marks on it. But if you see a lizard in there, take it out. Okay, both pressure gauges were working. I think that's it for that. So we're gonna go ahead and plug everything back in, make sure that's been on the whole time. It's been, so all the air is out of it for sure. And the reason it was doing that, most likely because it was starving for water. Maybe it had a little air left in it, I don't know. Alright, so now we're going to test that over there for the pH. Looks low to me. That needs some calcite. Alright. We're getting low pH water, so we're gonna make a note. We need to add calcite next maintenance. Alright. Also now we're gonna check the PDS. Remember we were getting, I think it was really low numbers. 27 I thought, or 14. Pretty low. Yeah, 14. So we're good. We got good water going in, good water coming out. PP Mini, we need calcite cap. Probably add a BioSig and BioBasket, you know, inside there, adjust the float. Make a note here, we're leaving this turned off. If we had a red tag, maybe even put a red tag on here, say leave off till next maintenance. Look at filter, all right? So we'll do a cross comparison next month, and I guarantee you that we do that. This filter, being a bypass, will make that filter white. That's pretty much it. You know, the customer's home, so we could probably go talk through some of the issues, but only if the issues involve her paying something. We don't need to tell them, hey, your pressure tanks are bad if it's free. We don't need to tell them issues, because it's our job to fix them anyway. So any issues that are not on the warranty, like you know, issues coming from the well, they're getting shit in here. See, the object is to find this shit now and say, hey, ma'am, sir, you're starting to get a little shit in there. Let's go ahead and clean it. Let's go ahead and add a BioSig and BioBasket so you don't pay $165 to clean this tank out. That's your job. You know, we're not responsible for that. So let's go ahead and make that so you don't need to pay for that, so that you pay for those less. You know what I mean? So they'll be happy to spend $50 to put a BioSig and BioBasket and spend an extra $6 a month. So it keeps their system clean and it keeps it from bacteria. So go back and talk to them, and that would be, you know, what we should do. So that's it. That's pretty. Oh, did you pause it?
Yeah, I did. No, it's on.
Okay. So real quick, as I said, that's it. Forgot important step, which is backwash the membrane. So there is filter here. I think we turn this one off. Well, first, I think we turn the booster pump off. I believe we turn the booster pump off. Then we shut this one off, and then we open this one. And that should flush it out backwards. Make sure the drain line right here is open all the way, which it is. And that's flushing it backwards. I do believe that's right. If that's not right, then someone let me know. That should be draining the house gauge. And the house gauge isn't turning on. What? That just went down to nothing. What? Okay, either way, that's stopping at 40, which it's this gauge right here. That gauge is either wrong or so this is going to give me water pressure, 40 psi, so it's definitely that gauge is wrong. So, you know, it would be a bad idea to switch that gauge out because it's 38 now. So what's happening is we're draining down that tank through the membrane backwash, and so that turned on at 37. That's not bad. I mean, 40, 60 switches, so let's see what it turns off at. Imagine that's 60, 58, yeah, so that's good. We'll let this backwash for another minute or two, do our invoice. Do a once over on the system, make sure the tank is sealed. While we're up here, yeah, it looks sealed. One thing I'm gonna do is I have a little chlorine sprayer. So as you see tanks nasty on the outsides, spray anything on the outside like aerators or so spray a little bit of chlorine in here. Right on the top, around the floats. And that'll keep the water line above the tank nice, and a little bit of chlorine will go in here. It'll be removed by the carbon filter. This is good for the other little in-betweens. You know, and then we can compare pictures, you know, next week. With a little bit of chlorine we put in here, make this look better, you know. This is people's house water. We want to make sure this is good. But one last thing that I forgot to mention as well is the outlets. Are they sealed? These are recessed. These are going to be fine because they're recessed, so that's not a big deal. But if they were pulled away from the wall, we would want to make sure to pull the caulk out if it's not sealed anymore, and make sure to go ahead and caulk that. All right. This is go ahead and good to shut this off now. Also, if you look right here, there's a small little drip right here. All right, so that threaded ball valve right there needs to be fixed because that's leaking. So we'll make a note of that. Turn this one back on. Now we can turn our pump back on. Now we're going to set this one. Okay, we're not making much water because it's open. So it's done flushing out now. It's bubbles going away. We're down to making nothing all the way up. Throttle this back down to the 125 that was earlier. 1.5 to close. And that's it.